Hi, I'm Christy Strauch. I am the Possibility to Profit coach. If you have I'm looking at my desk right now, but if you have a pile of chaotic, creative possibilities and you would like to turn that into a profitable business, I can help you. I'm going to be talking to Claudia Palmera today. Let's see if I can request that she join. Yes, I can. Let's see. Hopefully that's happening. Oh, you're joined. Hi. It
Hi.
worked. Okay, I'm going to hold this up. This lovely sign that I have made. So Claudia is at the almost end of a project. And the reason I wanted to talk to you today about this and interview you is to discuss the evolution of a project, how you conceived of it, where you are with it right now, and what it looks like to finish. And it looks like we're hung. Can you hear me? Oh, God, come on. Oh, all right, now she's gone. So I'll hold this up again and see if hopefully she can come back. So Claudia and I talked a couple months ago maybe, about this project that she wanted to do. And the thing about when you're creative and you have projects, it's really easy to keep, yay, okay, this is good. It's easy to keep projects just in your mind and not actually ever do them, which is why I want to talk to you today. So talk about the conception of the project, what's happened so far, and where you are right now.
Okay. So the project that we're talking about today is a book. And the book is almost done. And like with a lot of projects, I, I, I don't know where they come, like they all
I know.
and I keep lists of my ideas on index cards, and I look at them so that it's always coming around, it's always stirring around in the subconscious. But this idea, I think, was born out of something unusual, because during the pandemic, we were in lockdown, we went into lockdown, and I'm not really sure where this came from, but I shifted gears almost immediately, and I just put forth these artist workshops, because I knew that creativity would be my savior and would probably be other people's saviors. And I also knew that there was nothing much to do, so we had to look inside, and if I look inside, I find visual information and artistic ideas and a need to express. So I started these things, and I just intuited that everything had to be brought down to a really granular level. Everything was just like brought down to the moment, to the day, to the hour, for everybody.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, in order to get people's creativity moving again, I suggested to my groups that they start with a micro practice. I called it the micro daily practice, which was basically, instead of starting with your creativity or writing the morning pages, which is a fabulous practice as well, but maybe you're not even there. Maybe 3 pages is way too much.
Yeah.
So that's how it was. That was like the birth of the idea, of the concept. And then the book idea, I don't even know where that came from, except that I really, I come from a publishing family business. I grew up as publishing, and so it's always been quite native to me to like, you have ideas, you put them into like publication format, like you package them for reading in graphic, and you put them into the world.
So this idea of a micro practice, that's the That's the book. Yes. It's taking
Micro
us,
practice.
yeah. So
Yeah.
just describe what a micro practice is.
A micro practice, it can be different for different artists,
Yeah.
depending on your medium. I'm a visual artist. The practice that I chose is collage.
Uh-huh.
For me, a micro practice is I take one image and one word out of a magazine
Oh,
every day, and I make a collage. Now, some days it's more than one, but the idea is that I only need one image and one word, and I'm done with the day. And I did bring my book here.
yes. I wanted to see, I wanted you to hold it up if you can.
Yeah. And then the other idea is that you you keep it all in one place,
Yeah.
right? And so what ends up happening is you
Yes. It's
accrue,
beautiful.
and you accrue your practice, and then
Uh-huh.
and then you just feel excited because you're like, oh, I've got a practice, I've got a thing, it's a thing,
Yeah.
now it's a
It is.
thing. Yeah.
I love that. It is a thing.
And I can tell you that I have writers who, and like here's a day where I really couldn't find an image, so I just took the house, right? And then the next day I found an image. So, and I date them. So I have a few writers, and they do a sentence.
Ah,
That, I mean, you know what I mean? And but things come out of that.
yeah.
So, and that's not my concern. My concern is like, what can you do to get yourself in the moment?
Yeah.
How do you get yourself into this moment? And meditation is hard for a lot of people, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
it's even hard, a little bit hard for me, but this to me is that turning back to yourself, coming back to that place of total concentration, total attention, and it's totally feasible in a microwave.
Mm. So, what's important about coming back to yourself? I know this seems like an obvious question, but why does that? Why does it help me to come back to myself?
I'm trying to figure out that myself. I mean, I think it's a very actually great spiritual question.
Yeah,
But
it
well,
is.
all I know is that I feel better and I'm fearless when I'm tuning into what I call it myself. It could be the heart, it could be the breath, but it's
Yeah.
that thing that's more than human. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you might call it the soul. I mean, there's so many names for it, right? I mean, and some people might even call it something divine, you know, but it's like tuning in to that part that's eternal, that the part that's the witness.
Yeah.
I know there's many names for it. So why is it important? I don't know, but I do know that there is a payoff, and the payoff is like serenity,
Hmm.
sense of fearlessness, and
Yeah.
because in
Yeah.
that moment, all is well.
Yes. That's another. It's probably that combination of courage and all as well.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. So, have you run into any inner critic in the process of creating this book?
Oh,
What a face.
I am such an abstract visual thinker.
Yeah.
To concretize things in language, in the written word, is a challenge. And you know, like I can express myself in words, you know, but it's just I find it to be a challenge. And so the idea of putting this to words was daunting to me.
Hmm.
Like, how can
Hmm.
I can explain it so well in my workshops, and I can get on board. I certainly can do it. And if you're in the room with me, I'll show you do it. It's done. But how do I make it? And also, how do I transmute some of the concepts that I want to bring along with this thing? Like, I explained what the micro daily practice is, right? It's like, okay, is that a book? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it is. It is a book,
it is a book.
obviously.
You
Yeah.
just, is that was like, is that a book? Right. So, yes.
So, when you ran into your inner critic, what did you do?
Um, I got help. I got,
Mm.
I got help. So I did a stream of consciousness and dictated and then had someone type it up for me.
Ah.
So that helped a lot. To see it actually in words already, like what I had stream of conscious just said in the air.
Yes. So,
Um,
so I just want to say a thing about that. When people think about writing books, they think, "Oh my God, it's either me and the pen and the piece of paper, or me and the laptop typing." But it doesn't always have to be like that. The way that you did it, where you dictated it, stream of consciousness, and had somebody type it, is super valid. And if people feel the fear of facing a blank page, you don't even have to face a page at all. You just do what you did, which is really smart.
yeah. And then I really decided to lean into my strength, right? I mean, and you and I talk, and you help me with this too, which is like, what is my strength? Well, my strength is the visual, is the graphic, is
Yes. Yes.
so when I could start to dream in the format, right, that I love, thank you. Um, then the pages filled up because I actually had the visual in mind. It was
Yeah.
product. I was turning the pages. Then the pages filled themselves. Then I knew what I wanted to say, and it became itself.
Mm-hmm. Which is another thing that I want to highlight, is that once you do what you did, where you got it down on paper, you started to make it
Right.
manifest, that I, my experience is that then it starts having a life of its own, and I can actually talk to it. I don't know if you have done that yet, but in the books that I've written recently, when I get stuck, I talk to the books, actually a written conversation.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
a,
I talk to the materials. I just tell. Yeah. Absolutely. I definitely. I don't know if I'm actually. But yes, I'm talking with. I'm involving
yeah.
these.
Yeah, it's a strange thing that the projects and the ideas, when they start to become manifest, they have their own energy,
Yeah.
and maybe I would say their own life even.
Yeah. Well, this book definitely told me what it wanted to be. I mean, and I asked people like what they thought of that, because the idea seems so absurd. But and
No, the book I just finished, I would talk to it, or the spirit of the book, or whatever it is, but it even had a name. It's called the Maestro. So when I get stuck, I say, "Okay, Maestro, I'm stuck." And then I would get an answer about what to do. Sounds like you did the exact same thing.
yeah, and I have to say also, you know, doing the book that is about the micro daily practice, you know, it too.
Right? Did, did it say do your practice and then come back and talk?
Well, no, the practice is such a habit now that
Oh,
it's just like it's like part of the routine. But I'm saying just visiting the book every day
yeah.
is part of the micro practice. It doesn't mean I have to work on it, but even because a micro practice can be sitting in the chair in your studio or at your desk, you know what I mean? Like, because if you sit in that place, you're going to start, the wheels are going to start to turn.
Yep.
I remember being stuck and sitting in my studio chair, and my materials are all out there and everything, everything was just as it was, right? I just sat there, and you just can't help it. Wait, what is your curiosity gets, and
Yeah.
you twiddling with something,
Yeah.
and it just starts to move.
It does start to move. It's so cool. So, where are you now with the book?
The book right now is quasi done. It's quasi done. I it's quasi done before it probably needs to be reviewed or something by an editor, but also maybe not, because if it's going to be self-published, then they can just go out there. So but it'd probably be good to have a couple of eyes on it. I don't know. I've never done this before, so
Yeah.
I mean, I've never done this particular kind of thing before. I've designed books for other people.
Yeah.
I've designed major art volumes, and I've certainly designed magazines and all kinds of book covers. I worked for Simon and Schuster and designed book covers for years. So, I'm familiar with the genre, but my own authored book is a different thing. So
It is.
but yeah, it's almost there. It's almost there, and I probably just need to set another deadline and make myself accountable to it.
Yes. Oh, and we heard it here first. Would you like to do that?
Oh boy. Well, my dream was to get it out in January for the new year.
Yeah.
That was my big vision for that.
So January 31st, it's out. How about that?
Ooh, I love that.
Okay, that's good. So who's the book for?
The book is for artists and creatives.
And would I could be a writer and still use the book, right?
To be a writer, a poet, I mean, any basically creative, any photographer, I don't know, it's any creative. And I mean, my groups were originally for stuck creatives, mostly, but I don't think you have to be a stuck creative to appreciate it. Also, I really am designing it so that the format is something that you might just want anyway, because it's full of pictures and colors and fonts and things. So it's a visual as well as a reading experience.
Yeah, and so you talked about this a little bit, that it brings us, and Leonie said something about this too in the comments, that the book is meant to bring us into the present moment.
Well, the book is to have the practice to be in that present moment, and through creativity, which is one of the ways.
Yeah, and the reason, I mean, not to be super obvious about this, but just to say it out loud, the reason to be in the moment creatively is that's where the creativity starts happening. Yeah, that's a profoundly important tool that you're about to put out.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've really seen it work. I saw it work. There's a poet who was in my groups, and he was very shy about his verse, but he really loved the micro daily practice, and he write. And I should really ask him exactly what his actual practice was, because it wasn't a poem a day. That was a lot.
Yeah.
It's just been a liner. I even, with poets, I've often said, like, they can just explore a pair of words, you know what I mean? Like, just, because they are so profound with that, kind of thing. So,
yeah.
But I've also spoken with actors and screenwriters, photographers, and people who can create micro practices in other ways.
Yeah. This is really important. So just one more mechanical question. How are you figuring out where to have it printed?
Have it printed?
Yeah.
Like the actual printing?
Yeah.
Well, my years as a designer, creating books, magazines, and other things I mentioned, like I'm familiar with printers, publishers, online resources and things like that. So I had a pretty decent idea of where it could be done in a way that was, I want to say sustainable, so I wasn't ordering a house book sell.
Yeah, has to be on demand.
Right. But it was not going to be a precious art book either that was going to be over people's heads to get. It might be nice to have a publisher too, but I don't know if I think I'm a bit like, I'll just get it out there and see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's my entrepreneurial tendencies to just sort of like make it, put it out there.
Yeah. Well,
no middleman.
No, definitely. I mean, I'm all on board with that too. So we can find you either on Instagram or also at your website. And be starting to, I mean, I think you promised it in front of us here that it would be ready January 31st-ish. You know, I know there's a lot of mechanical stuff that happens when you have to upload things and see the proofs and stuff like that. So,
well, yeah, if you join my mailing list on my website, you'll
yeah.
definitely be the first to know on that.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, that's good. Hold that up one more time.
Thank you, Christy, for that.
Yeah. So there's still a couple people watching us. If you guys have any questions before we wrap up. So say in, I know you've said this already a little bit, but say in like 2 sentences, who is this book for?
This book is for creatives who want to just have a fun and accessible practice for their creativity, whether it's to get the wheels rolling again or to just become more disciplined. It's
yeah.
for, you know, I don't know, I think it's a fun project. It's a practice that has profound implications, as we've shared earlier, but it's also really fun because, as I said, like once you start accruing, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Which is not it's not the point. But because, you know, another point about the micro daily practice is that let it be bad.
Yes.
Let it be bad. I mean, some days I'm just like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the Anne Lamott for writers has this motto that you have to let yourself write the shitty first draft, because after that, now you got something you can edit.
Yeah, exactly. Or and then it's like, well, then just the next day, the next day, the next day, the next day.
Yeah.
And then the day it's just like, whoa, that's that's a cool idea. I never thought of putting that with that. I mean, there's also incredible because I think as an artist sometimes, and maybe also it's true for you as a writer, like I know what I'm like, I have a thing I'm creating and it's special and it's precious and it's that thing, right? But this is not precious.
Right.
So,
right.
It can just be like a little crazier. You know what I mean? Kind of like, you know, when you don't care, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna mix match it, whatever, you know? Like you're just
yeah. Well, there's a couple of Pulitzer Prize winning books and plays that were started out on the backs of napkins in coffee shops because it's so much, it's the pressure's off. You know, I'm not writing the great American novel on this piece of napkin. I'm just messing around. Yeah, this is the creativity and the sacredness of messing around.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. So here's where people can find you. Thanks everybody for listening. It was a blast to hear about this project. And I mean, I'm first in line to order it on January 31st.
Thanks, Christy.
Thanks, Claudia.